What sort of day was it? A day like all days, filled with events that alter and illuminate our time. All things are as they were then, but you are there. It is another hot and humid evening in Philadelphia, Monday, July 1st, 1776. These are uneasy times. Civil war has begun in earnest between the British Empire and the American colonists. The battles of Lexington and Bunker Hill are behind us. Colonial forces have lost the Battle of Quebec, but seized Ticonderoga. British troops overran and burned the city of Norfolk, Virginia. The British have retreated from Boston, but General Burgoyne's army, reinforced with Hessian mercenaries, has surrounded New York City, the colonial capital. After weeks of debate, delegates from all 13 colonies are ready to read and sign the Declaration of Independence at Convention Hall. This evening, Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, compatriots and friends, are putting the finishing touches on the document which Jefferson has been laboring to bring to perfection for nearly 3 weeks. These men need no introduction, so well known are they. We let them introduce themselves.
Citizens, sons and daughters of liberty, my name is Ben Franklin. I'm 70 years old and thought at this stage in my life I'd be ready to withdraw from the world. But I can't sit this one out. I find myself breathing in the life-changing and nation-shattering events that are taking place, and I'm vivified by this time of vision and foment. I want to tell you a little about my humble origins. I got my big break when, at 12 years of age, my brother allowed me to be apprenticed in his print shop. I read everything I could get my hands on that we printed. I'm an autodidact, means pretty much self-taught without formal education. After I read as much as I read, I thought, gee, I think I can do a better job of writing. So I began to gain some fame in that area. And my brother's envy of me increased to the point where I found myself heading west, but ended up stopping in Philadelphia. I always had a head for business, and after a period of time, I found myself running both a publishing company and a newspaper. And naturally, I was writing for both. When I was 24, I met Deborah. And Deborah and I, for 42 years, lived in a common law relationship until she died. I'm more than just a man of letters. I'm also very interested in science and studying the laws of nature through science. I've invented the bifocals, I've invented a lightning rod, and other implements that are common in colonial era. Also, I've conducted research in electricity and magnetism, cartography, extraterrestrials, and unidentified flying objects. Really, you can look it up. But to less debatable issues, I find myself now a player in one of the most glorious enterprises of our time. The challenge of men of principle with men of power. Can truth speak to power, and will power listen? That's what we're going to find out. Regrets? Yes, that my son, while he's reached the age of maturity, has not reached the age of enlightenment. He doesn't agree on me on helping to create a new nation and remains loyal to the crown. Our discussions have been vehement. I'm afraid that we will never talk again. And that in my farthest vision, in the best version of myself as I know myself, I could not have imagined the possibilities that each of you face today. I could not have imagined the future. Can you imagine the possibilities that each of you had that I didn't? Thomas.
I am Thomas Jefferson. You may hold your thoughts till later for seeing. As Ben is today, so am I, a British subject. But in 3 days, we declare ourselves Americans. I am now 33, as of Friday. With the blessings of Providence, I've been the manner born, all the benefits of an aristocrat. I'm a rich SOB. My family includes the Randolphs, stewards of Virginia's land and government. My father died when I was 14, and I gradually assumed the management role of our vast agricultural holdings and the many slaves that worked the land. I studied at William & Mary, one of the best colleges in the nation, for 7 years before entering law practice at the age of 24. My practice is successful and our land is fertile. When I was 28, I found Martha and we married. I cannot bear being without her. She's just the love of my life. I've been given more in the good fortune of birth and life than a man has a right to expect. I daily honor these gifts by trying to be worthy of them. That the impending revolution could take all them away, I'm aware, and not without anxiety. I consider myself a social philosopher, help to build our new country on the most just human ideals. I write continuously at this job and other places. I've edited the New Testament to focus on the true teachings of our Lord. I'm a member of the Virginia legislature and have helped pass bills on religious freedom and a bill of personal rights. But I'm not only a man of letters. I have drafted the architectural plans for Monticello and have begun the work on the building classical of its design. Amazing place. Definitely come see my house. It's awesome. The products of my ingenuity include the swivel chair, which we all love at our jobs, a plow for hillside plowing, a cipher to decode messages, a revolving book stand, and numerous improvements in horticulture. I love riding my mare, but I love my time with Martha best. I have this vision for the future, is that America would become a shelter for all those seeking religious freedom and self-knowledge. I know that if I were to visit this land in the future, be open to all inspiration and enterprise for the benefit of all men. I see your faces and can hardly believe your beauty and your wisdom. Regrets? Being unable to reconcile my deepest belief in freedom for all men, yet finding myself a slave owner. That with all that I have, the whole life ahead of us, I cannot secure more than this hour.
Part 3, this is the dialogue. Come in. Tom, so glad to see you.
So glad to
Make
see you.
yourself at home.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, make yourself at home. Another muggy night in Philadelphia. I've opened the window to let the cool breeze from the river waft through the room. I suspect that any Tories that would have been interested in spying on us are deep in their cups at the tavern by now.
Thank you.
We can speak freely.
Oh, we can speak freely? All right.
Yeah.
That's good. As long as they're all in the tavern, we're good. So thank you for this time where we can speak on the square. I wish to confide and not debate further.
Good. What's this you have for me?
Oh, just a little of the good stuff.
I haven't had any of your Virginia hemp in quite a while.
Oh, well, it's the best there is to offer. None of this Massachusetts stuff. It's all straight from Virginia.
Smells like amphora.
Ooh.
So good to have you in my parlor. My daughter visits occasionally. But,
Should we prepare a bowl?
well, certainly. It's not quite like coming home to your soul's mate as I did year after year.
Nothing is.
Thank you. Thank you for preparing this bowl for me.
No problem. It is curious, though. I mean, the British have taken our tea, our coffee, our rum, our tobacco. All contraband now. Yeah, we can still have a little hemp.
Well, the British have their lists, like what's inevitable.
Death and taxes.
Yes, I prefer the Italianos. The Italianos have a whole different take on what's inevitable. For them, it's war and love. Each of the Italians believe that they're immortal, so death has no truck with them. And they spend much of their genius and reputation figuring out how to avoid the tax man. Why are you taking just a tad, and did you give me the full bowl? Would you like this for me?
I should have taken more.
You don't have the British rampaging through Virginia in the back of your mind, do you?
I do.
Quick, light it up. I want this to take effect before the meeting ends. Thank you. Ah, good. Now let's get down to working on the penultimate draft of your declaration before this does take effect.
The penultimate draft? I thought I was done.
We'll see. By the way, why did it take you 18 days to finish this off? We basically talked about the whole thing and drafted it at the convention, and most of it we took from the Virginia Bill of Rights that you had already penned.
Well, I did have to recover from that time and that hard work. I had to have major stress relief, and that's why I had that lovely wife, Martha. She really helped me out in relaxing. Her massages, I could regale you with tales.
Yes, I dare say that your passion wasn't just for declarations of independence.
No, it never is.
Mm-hmm.
I am 33. I have a little more virile in you than
yes.
you are 70 now, so
They don't call me the gray fox for nothing, however.
Right.
Touche. Yes. Let's to the task at hand, however, where we say we hold these truths to be self-evident. The right of life and liberty.
Life and liberty? Life and liberty? You object to life and liberty?
No, I don't object as far as you've gone, but I would like you to add, and the pursuit of happiness.
How's that a neo-dual right?
Well, Tom, remember the Italianos' love and war?
Yeah.
Well, Norfolk burned, no doubt. The evenings that you spent with Martha in Charlottesville had an element of combustion about it, I dare say. What if the new government decides to monitor behavior of one's personal life, of one's avocations, and perish the thought, surveillance of one's pleasures?
All right. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Till 200 years later when they invent the NSA. It does have a nice ring to it.
Yes. I thought you'd find room for that small amendment. And you know where at the end, here it is, we mutually pledge our lives and our fortunes. My daughter doesn't like that part about the fortunes, the estate that I have for her and everything. Could we strike fortunes and put in something idealistic like pledging our heartfelt brotherhood or sacred honor, something like that?
Oh, sacred honor, that's good, let's add that.
No, let's delete fortunes and add sacred honor.
What? We pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Yes, I know there's something missing there.
He's not paying any attention to
An appropriate trinity of vows. Nice, Ben, very nice.
Yes, thank you, you're welcome. No hope on that one. Now here where you write, the government will derive its powers from the consent of the governed. Now who would that be, Tom?
We debated this fiercely in convention, Ben. I was surprised. I mean, you've retained the idealism of the young lions. You were asking who will vote? Women? Slaves? Men with property? Lads serving in the militias but in their teens?
Yes, I'm glad you still consider yourself a firebrand, Tom. At least you're not one of John Adams' elite, a little to the right of Genghis Khan. Well, who does give us consensus? A third of our population is willing to fight for freedom. A third remains loyal to the crown. And a third are waiting to see who's going to win before they decide. Our third looks meager when you take out the females, the involuntary immigrants from Africa, men without property, and the teenage soldiers.
I agree, Ben. But how are we going to get people to vote? All these men who own all the land to declare our declaration if we don't exclude them for the moment, for in this hour. Man, this hemp is good.
I'm beginning to feel it too.
Are you? I mean, who else could vote? I mean, are we gonna be like the Athens democracy? Rome's Republic? The Magna Carta? all too much, we the people,
Yes.
the voice of the people.
Who are we the people, Tom? Who are we? For now, let these issues go. It's almost like they're too heavy. But I did want to ask you, you've insulted King George no less than 24 times in our Declaration of Independence. I counted them, 24. And you say, and I quote, he is unfit to rule a free people. Unfit, you call him.
Well, yeah, have you seen
Do you think we could tone it down a bit? What do you call this?
This
Yes.
is Roanoke Ray.
Oh, very good.
And he is a fat, unfed, he's well-fed man. He can't lead free people. He's used to people serving him. How is he going to lead the free?
Well, tone it down a bit just in case we don't, you know.
You don't think we'll win? Look, man, I'm prepared to die if we don't win, because that's what's probably going to happen anyway. So I am gung-ho all for it. You actually think we might lose?
Well, look, I've pledged myself to the cause, but it's Providence that decrees the outcome,
And
not
the
Ben or
news.
Tom.
I believe we have the prevailing winds of justice lifting our cause. We are determined who we are. If you want to know who you are, act. Don't think, act. It is our acts that define us.
Hear, hear, young Lion of Judah, a toast to you. This act of declaration will define us all. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I toast you, my brother and master. You've eclipsed me in your rhetoric and in your intellect.
No, Ben, my friend and my colleague.
Alas, time lost is never found again. I remember as if it happened yesterday. The lightning bolted down the kite string. I felt magnetized and electrified. It lasted almost a week. Deborah wouldn't let me take my hands off of her. She called me my angel aglow. And she said I could continue my experiments as long as I included her in the trial. Those were the days.
A recollection and a little hemp. Deepens in sensations of experience. This whole thing for me, sometimes is like a wake from a dream of the future. It defines all we know of the past. I see the faces of the people I've never met, and whose appearance I could never have imagined. Look at this room. White, black, Asian, everybody together. And all these people, they glow like warm thoughts born of our vision.
Yes, Tom, with all possible blessings for them. May they be better versions of ourselves.